Both of you's doing great.
Yeah. See, this is the hype I need.
Chris, Ugali, yes or no?
Yes, any day of the week.
Hey boss, can we go through yet or what?
Just 1 second, let me check. Ollie! Yeah, no, mate.
Access denied.
Lex!
Right. No. Where are you go? That crash still affect you, whether it be physically or mentally or at all?
No. Thankfully, last season was the first year since that crash where I was basically completely pain-free and needle-free and felt that I was myself again.
So we go back to get the media pass, and it's all good. 2 down under 2023. It's going to be another great year. Finally, it's back on. This is the media center where all us journos and wannabe journos hang out. So we're just taking a walk over here. This is really well organized for the riders because most of them stay at the Hilton, which is just to the right there. You can see the Hilton Hotel in the left of screen. And they just walk across here. They're into the tour village and they can meet up and then go ride from there with the team cars, etc. So some of the riders are just arriving this morning from Europe. Some of them arrived yesterday. Chris Froome said he arrived yesterday. And we'll get to the Chris Froome interview shortly. But we'll just give you a bit of behind the scenes, what it's like here in Adelaide. Basically, so you see that big building to the left. That's the Hilton Hotel. That's where most of the riders are going to stay. And it's Geschenk for his 19th Tour Down Under. Just kidding, but he's done a lot. He's been around a long time. So a seasoned pro ready to roll. You can sort of also see that in this sort of footage, the different sort of style of physiques in the riders. You can just sort of see if you're a taller rider, you've got to be slimmer. And if you're a smaller rider, it's not as important. So see the team kit. This is one of the Australian teams, sort of like just a temporary team for the Tour Down Under. You've got Yates on the left, and some of the EF guys are in town as well. So pretty much it's going to be a ripper year, and you can sort of see everyone's quite lightweight, aren't they? Yeah, this is different from back in the day. I remember the 1999 Tour Down Under. And yeah, there's riders coming here a little bit heavier than probably ideal for race weight. But now things are quite different. It is just a higher level in terms of you have to be on all year long in terms of chasing those UCI points, etc. So it's definitely, the competition is so high and it's so cutthroat. It's just so cutthroat in professional cycling. You got to maintain a body weight. You got to maintain a power output. You got to maintain healthy blood values. You got to maintain so many things there to ensure that you don't get booted off your contract. Because if you can't perform, they show you the door. It's access denied. Access denied. It's very, very hot here. You can't really tell how hot it is, but today's about, I think, 37 Celsius, and it's already. I filmed this at just about 9 o'clock this morning, and you can sort of see one of the 15-year-olds there for Bora. Getting a signed water bottle, etc. It's just really, really warm. Some of the riders are going to be in a bit of a shock for how hot the temperature is going to be. It's really got much of the hydration. So you sort of see this how slim body mass index. School bus. So we're at TDU today, and the team zone is a bit more strict this time. You have to. They just showed me a list. It's Phil Liggett, etc. I'm not on the list this year. We'll see if we can get that changed, but maybe get some photos of the bikes, etc. Or we just go right with the teams. But yeah, Tour Down Under, it's so hot today. It's going to be dry, man. If you're coming down, make sure you're smashing that water because it's going to be epically hot. And what sort of footage would you like to see? It's like Jai Hindley walking through there. What sort of footage would you like to see from this year's Tour Down Under 2023? Here we are. This is the Chris Froome interview. I got my media pass organised, and one of the PR managers, Fiona. Thank you, Fiona. She said, "Come on in here and do your thing." So this is great. So basically, I'll give the translation here for what was said in the interview. I'll give you the summary. The audio quality, it just wasn't that good because I probably should give Chris my mic. But basically, the questions that were being asked was, your recovery from your crash and the long COVID, what do you think of Adelaide? And basically, Chris was just saying, he loves Adelaide. It's a great place to train. He's a huge fan of durianrider, etc., etc. But he did say about his crash that he feels like last year was, the first year he's been able to train without any pain, and he feels that he's put a lot of focus on work off the bike, like, core stuff, bit of resistance training for cyclists, but obviously at a light weight because you don't want to build up too much mass, etc., etc. But yeah, the audio, the mic was just not playing friendly this morning. Chris was also, one of the questions posed to Chris Froome was talking about longevity of athletes, and Chris's response was, if you stay professional, stay good with your diet, training with the power, having good coaches, looking after yourself, basically, i.e. go easy on the party lifestyle or only party on the bike versus off the bike. And he was just saying that, he mentioned Valverde, shout out to Valverde, or Kovačov there. It's just basically saying that, and it's true for life. Like, if you look after your health, you look after your fitness and performance. So having that focus on health is just paramount. Health is wealth, all right? And so you can sort of see that Chris Froome now, he has a lot of competition in terms of, POG and ROG, etc., etc. I mean, there's just so many good riders out there now. With the cadence, with the carbs, with the power, with the genetics, with the low body weight, there's such a depth of talent out there. It's going to be hard for Chris Froome to come back up to that top step. I hope he does, because we know Chris Froome's been fantastic for the sport. He's been that sort of bridge and inspiration for a lot of cyclists out there. And I guess he's been a bridge for a lot of people to get into cycling in the last 10 years, from when he won his first Tour de France, was back in 2013, and when he showed the world his potential back in 2012, and there in the Vuelta in 2011 with Kobo, etc. So it's good to see Chris back on the bike. I've been watching the Tour Down Under since 1999 here in Adelaide. I've only missed one edition as a spectator, and I've seen a lot of people come and go, and it's amazing. It's a bit of a life sort of metaphor about looking after your health, and that it's a cutthroat world out there. There's if you're a champion, there's room for you. If you're not, then you're not going to get much press conference, etc. So the temptation to stay at a certain level, it's very, very strong. So yeah, good to see Chris Froome back on the bike. Good to see him here back in Adelaide. We looks a bit different from wearing the Sky jersey, etc., from what we used to. But Chris Froome, he's just a chill dude. I mean, I asked him a question you saw in the early video about the Ugali, and he just laughed. Yep, Ugali all day, every day. He's just a chill dude. You see him walking around, all right? Like, we were walking out of the press room there, and Chris was in front of me, and I was a few minutes back, and he just walks like an everyday guy, all right? He's not arrogant. He's not a douchebag. He listens to the questions asked. He's just he's a multi-millionaire, one of the best professional cyclists ever, and he's just a chill dude, all right? Even how he rides the bike. He rides the bike, in my opinion, more like a cyclo-tourist, but he's like a machine. He's not even, he's Chris Froome, he's a really interesting example of top level, top tier athleticism, but he just walks like an everyday dude, all right? But yeah, if you're not a cyclist with a power meter, it's sort of hard to appreciate some of the numbers that Chris Froome's put out there over the years on the time trial, on the climbs, etc. And he's quite a tall guy. He's a little bit taller than me. I'm 183. I think Chris Froome's about 185. So that's a lot of wind resistance you have to push against compared to the smaller riders like Contador, the Yates brothers, etc., the other GC contenders, Valverde, etc. Richie Port as well. Richie Port recently retired, so unfortunately we won't see Richie this year at the TDU, and that'll be interesting. There's no Wollonga finish, there's no Richie Port finish, so it's going to be up Mount Lofty. And but yeah, I guess it's the cycle of life, isn't it? Life goes on, life changes. Like, enjoy the moment while it's there, people. Enjoy the moment while it's there. It's nothing lasts forever. So, and you sort of see Chris. He's just, he wasn't losing any patience. He's just doing all the photos, And this is where I shout over the top. Ugali, yes or no? And he's like, yep. He's just, he's just getting it done. Like, he's just a true professional and a great ambassador for the sport. And that's not me blowing smoke up his ass. That's a genuine human observation. That's him smiling with my Ugali comment. He's just a chill dude. Imagine how many times he's done this photo stuff and all the questions and all the stuff like that. But he's just still out there representing his sponsors, representing cycling, getting it done. And, so good on him. Good to see Chris back in Adelaide. Good to see him on the bike. And we definitely wish the best for him for his season coming up here in 2023. I mean, realistically speaking, do I think Chris Froome could win the Tour de France? I think if he could, he'd need probably a different team. And it's not a diss to his team at the moment. It's just like you got guys like Rog and Pog, etc. on these and Ineos and that on these super teams. You got to be a bit of a freak to be able to ride against those teams if your team isn't as strong. So cycling is definitely a team sport, unless you're like a mutant like Pog on his first year. He won a tour in 2020. Basically with no team. We can't say no team. You know what I'm saying, though. Like, you got the GT Grand Tour specialist teams like Sky and Ineos had back in the day, and still today. It makes a huge difference. So for Chris Froome to compete against that on a challenging team, it's going to take a special bit of performances there. So I don't think it's possible, because it seems like the team element now is even stronger than ever before. It's like almost like these super teams. But yeah, that's professional sport, and it's entertainment for us to watch, and we wish the riders well with health and safety, etc. So yeah, Chris Froome is just laughing, smiling, nodding head, getting it done, just making time for people. And they're rolling out here. There's Chris Froome there on the left. But yeah, you can definitely see the physiques of the riders of the year have gotten slimmer and slimmer. It's almost like Chris Froome has sparked this. And you see how they looked over their shoulder there? They're always checking, always looking. You can sort of see that Chris Froome, I would say, sparked like a real interest in cadence and power and nutrition. And a lot of riders in the pro peloton have been inspired by him. I even coach a few World Tour riders in nutrition, because again, the weight loss thing's huge. Like, if you can lose that last 2 kilos, that's going to affect your power to weight ratio, your watts per kilo in a positive outset, especially if you're doing it the right way. Especially if you can maintain power and lose weight, then that's what we're talking about.